The new Callaway Elyte drivers offer even more AI-powered design to make sure you're not compromising anything off the tee. We'll tell you everything you need to know about the Callaway Elyte drivers in this episode of the Swing Report. Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf here, joined by Jake Montgomery, Master Club Fitter and Fitting Manager at the Minneapolis store. Today we're at the Minnetonka store in the tour van. We've got some new drivers from Callaway.
We do.
Very, very exciting. The Callaway Elyte drivers. First of all, let's kind of get just a first impression before we get into the tech. Thoughts on just how this thing looks. Obviously looks brand new. They've got, I think, some new and kind of cool face graphics.
Yeah.
Also got that matte crown. Love that as well. At least on this standard model.
Yep.
Looks like that one has maybe a different look to it. So what do you see, Jake? Talk to me.
Yeah, so I mean on the Triple Diamond model, for example, it has kind of a glossy finish on there. Really like the face graphics there. I appreciate that more and more manufacturers are kind of differentiating the toe and the heel from the center. It just makes it a lot easier to square up at address. With drivers being a lot bigger, sometimes players can kind of navigate more towards the toe or the heel, just naturally lining up. Pretty clean bottom. They kind of quieted things down a little bit. Some flashes of green, some silver in there. Overall, pretty clean looking club.
Yeah, so the Elyte drivers, we've got some tech to go through. And of course, when it comes to Callaway, they're all about AI. They have been now for 5-6 years maybe when it comes to drivers. So they've been implementing AI and they use more and more of it every year. So what they've done now, this is kind of wild. They invested in a 3D titanium printer. And so what this did is allowed them to really speed up and expedite the prototyping process for their shaping. So that way they were able to identify the best possible shape that they could. That's what this is. Now, refined shape, and it's supposed to help you get, on average, 1.3 miles an hour of club speed. And that is from testing that Callaway's done with real individuals, real people swinging. So that's pretty cool. Over AI smoke anyway. That's the advantage there. On the carbon crown now, this is the Thermoforged Carbon crown, which is new in the Elyte drivers versus the previous generation. You have aerospace material on there that's going to help actually with overall stability of the club face and the performance on off-center hits. The average is 2.1 miles an hour more ball speed there. So you're getting more speed. And that's actually what I think is cool about this is they put numbers to that stuff and they tell you. So it's one thing to just say, hey, we're going to have more ball speed and more forgiveness. But they're going to put numbers to it and that you can actually go hit these for yourself at a store if you'd like to and see if they're telling the truth. And so also, one more thing, the club face. They've had the AI designed face architecture for several generations now. This is the AI 10X face with the smart face and the AI smoke. You had up to 1,500 control spots on the face. Now that's 10X. So they've multiplied that by 10. So now, depending on the club head and the model, it's up to 25,000 spots. So I just gave you a ton of tech jargon, but what do you kind of comes to your mind after hearing all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's just going to be even more forgiving. That's where Callaway has really excelled, especially with their AI smart faces in the past. They've done a really good job of managing mishits on off-center strikes. So those control points are really designed to kind of give you optimal launch spin ball speed from each point on the driver face. I'm really curious to kind of see how forgiving this driver really is. And then going to that Thermoforged crown versus their carbon chassis that they had before. It's a pretty big change. So I'm excited to see kind of how that affects performance.
Yeah, so I think they said overall the dispersion is about 19% tighter, and that goes for distance dispersion, but also kind of that left to right.
Yeah, that's very significant.
Just based on the changes that they made in the testing that they've done. So now in total, there are 4 models in the series. We're going to hit 3 of them today. So there's Elyte, there is the Elyte Triple Diamond, which is what you're holding there. The Elyte X, which we're going to find out is going to be a little bit more kind of the draw bias perhaps. And then the Elyte Max Fast, which kind of is similar to the past couple generations where they've had one that's kind of for the super lightweight category, maybe slower swing speeds. So also worth noting, the Elyte Max Fast this year is fully adjustable, which is different than in the past. So a lot of information there. The Elyte drivers, though, clearly they've got something for every golfer. They've got a ton of performance. I'm excited to do some testing today. So that's what we're going to do, actually.
Me too.
I'm going to do some testing. You're going to look at all the numbers and tell us how great these things are.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's try them.
Starting with the standard Elyte model here. We're going to go 10.5 on all of them. And then also cool and worth noting, Artera shaft. So really cool from Callaway. $100 upcharge if you were able to, we're going to order an Artera shaft, which is a much better deal than kind of these shafts on their own.
Yeah, they retail for about $350 to $400. So
yeah, so
it's pretty killer deal there.
So really cool. Now, look wise, this actually looks kind of, I wouldn't say it's too large, but it's definitely gives you some confidence at a dress.
For sure.
Yeah. I was curious about that one because that was definitely a heel ball.
Okay. Saw the spin come up a hair, but nothing crazy.
Heel and low for sure on the face. So to see that actually managed, and you can tell 142 smash, not great, but I will take that as a miss every day,
sure.
right? I mean, it's going to work. That's
A little high on the face, maybe?
Yeah, well, it actually is a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
You heard it. It was sounded like I didn't hit the center of the face.
Yep.
And breaking news, I did not. But to get 147 on that, and it actually kind of fought that right a little bit. It's definitely, I mean, my face angle was 8 degrees open, hit it towards the toe, but it still ended up pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, better swing. That one felt really good.
Yeah.
Finally got a hold of one where I'm supposed to hit it, and look what happens. 170 ball speed with a 10.5 degree. I don't know if I've ever done that before with a 10.5 degree.
Yeah, it's
Get
looking real
170.
fast so far.
Yeah,
2,500 spin, I'm pretty happy with that. 140 for the height. I mean, if that's where our averages were, I might drop you down in loft a little bit.
Okay.
But pretty happy with those numbers.
Let's go one more here because I didn't probably do the club justice enough on those first few swings. And I still hit the ball pretty good, but I'm going to hit another good one here because I don't think I've seen 170 ball speed from a club at 10.5 degrees.
Yeah, it's impressive. 170 again.
Oh, yeah. And that's kind of my traditional shot shape is that big swooping draw. I have some club path problems where I come in and out a little bit. But that's really good. That's fast and that's far.
Yep.
I'm curious if we bring up all the numbers and the averages there to see what that looks like after. Again, this is a standard model. I've hit 5 shots. We've got up there.
Pretty consistent on the numbers.
Yeah. I like where that spin's at. I mean, that's a pretty good spin number. And again, I wasn't hitting the best of swings here. I hit a couple that were pretty good where I've actually hit the center of the face.
Yeah, we only saw a variation of 242 RPMs of spin, so that kind of goes into that AI 10X face, kind of keeping everything within a certain range.
Right, yeah, for sure. 146 smash. I think we can do better than that with one of the other 2 models for sure.
For sure.
Just part of that's being me, but part of that is I think might be a better fit perhaps in that Triple Diamond. 118 feet is plenty of height. What else? I mean, anything else jump out of you here? Otherwise, these are really good numbers for sure.
Yeah,
Again,
I mean,
the 10.5 degree driver that we're hitting here.
Everything's pretty controlled. So like we were seeing a little bit of variation in terms of strike location. Launch and spin stayed pretty standard there. I mean, your smash factor really didn't vary too much. I mean, even from like your best strikes at the 170 number to where we had down to a 161. I mean, that still went 290.
Yeah,
that was pretty high toe shot.
That first shot was actually a low heel shot.
Okay.
It was, which how that spin goes up a little bit. And actually, if you take that out, things get a lot better in terms of averages and stuff.
For sure.
All of a sudden, we're at 309, we're at 288 carry, but even then, that miss doesn't punish me at all.
No.
So I might be like maybe a club less into the green with that.
Dispersion here.
So yeah, I mean we're
pretty controlled there.
Yeah, pretty consistent across the board in terms of the distance there with those. So it's pretty good. I like that. And again, that was kind of sort of all over the face strike location wise, and the ball is still staying in the fairway for me.
Yeah. Let's try another model.
This is the Elyte X model now, and I can definitely see a little bit of that extra mass down here. It's like this area of the club is just there's more to it
for sure.
But it's definitely not off-putting or anything like that. Actually, in terms of the overall size, it looks pretty similar to the Elyte.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Yep. I think we'll see a lot of shots like that one.
Yep. Yeah, this head is definitely more left bias for a right-handed player.
That one could go left, but I hit it really hard.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
Those are some pretty ideal numbers right there. That launch and spin is extremely efficient. That's a pretty good miss.
That is where that ended up, really. So again, this is the Elyte X, and we've talked about how this is kind of a draw bias club. We actually have this sort of in the neutral settings. So really, this isn't actually set up necessarily as draw bias as it could be. This is more of a max forgiveness right now because this weight is in the neutral port.
Yes.
If you wanted the draw bias, we would move it into this sort of port down here where it could be really moving that thing left.
Yeah.
Now, there is a little bit of that draw bias in there. You can see it and you can look at it. You can feel it a little bit. But I feel like this weight back here and this max forgiveness helped that ball stay straight because I hit that probably here. And I can't believe it stayed kind of straight and went 300 yards. I cannot believe that.
I mean, your smash factor still was at 147, 2100 spin. I mean, the launch got high, I think, just because that face was so open, but it really didn't move that far offline. Beautiful.
Man, that's good. That is good. If that draws back enough. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
You're going to like that one. Woo! Put up some pretty good numbers there.
So I know that one that I left open and barely hit the face is going to ruin dispersion a little bit, but I mean, I got 3 that are completely down the middle of the fairway. And I've got 1 that I missed slightly that's still in the fairway.
Yeah. I mean, 3 out of the 5 are about as good as you can possibly hit it.
Yeah.
I am very surprised to see that the spin rate is lower. Typically, the more forgiving you go, the higher the spin rate is going to be. Now, strike location can play a factor in that, but I would say just across the board, it was at a lower spin rate overall.
Yeah.
Your ball speed was within 0.1 miles per hour, so we're not seeing a ton of difference in the speed changing, but your carry is within 2 yards, total distance was within 3.
Yeah. It's and again, it could have been part of it too, as I'm a little looser now. I'm kind of feeling my swing a little bit more, but
you actually swung the Elyte X about a mile per hour slower and got a few more yards out of it.
Yeah, so the Elyte X, clearly pretty good. I mean, they're both awesome, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are both really good numbers. And again, I'm being serious when I say I haven't reached 170 ball speed. I mean, I've tested drivers before. I play a 9 degree that I actually loft down, or I have this year when I go outside and try to rip one. So this is at 10.5, and I'm getting the ball at higher speed than I really ever have. And so kudos to Callaway for that. But now I'm excited to see this Triple Diamond because now we can kind of maybe max some things out here a little bit, see if we can't get something in maybe under 2,000 spin or around 2,000.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to cross that 320 threshold.
All right, so this is the Triple Diamond. Now, I've said this, I say this every time we review a driver, and I'm going to say it again. I prefer the matte black crown. So this is glossy. I selfishly wish Callaway had gone with the matte throughout the lineup, but nonetheless, it has a good shape to it. More compact than the other two. So, yeah, I guess it just, if you're a person that doesn't have as picky of a preference on that, then you're going to like this, the way this
One thing
looks.
I'm curious to see as well is, in the past, the Triple Diamond models have generally been some of the most fade biased drivers out there. So with you playing a more aggressive draw, I'm really curious how that's going to affect your shot shape.
Yeah, true. Yeah, maybe I kind of hang it out right side of the line here. But, yeah, this will be good. And I'm going to see if I can just really see what I can max out at here. So I hit that hard, but the face was open.
Yep, stayed a little more right.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, let's square that up a little bit better. Whew. So that was a heel ball, if you can believe that. Interesting there. Okay. I swung a little harder on that one. Didn't quite hit it perfect. I still hit it 308 yards. My draw showed up.
Spin stayed under control.
So there's the high face knuckleball that still goes 313 yards. Yep. Some forgiveness here in the Triple Diamond.
Yeah.
All right, you wanted 320.
I think you catch one just right. We got it.
don't even have to catch it just right. I think I just got to have my face angle relatively not awful. That could be it right there. That could be it. There it is. 323. That's the spin rate I was talking about, getting down to 2,000. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
You could frame that one.
And again, we're talking about 170 ball speed, and I keep saying it. At 10.5 degrees, I've never seen that. Swung harder. Oh.
Spin got a little high on you. That was hammered, though.
I hit that hard. I went after that
carry.
one, got to 116 on the club speed, but look at that, 173. So I think I'm speaking as an amateur fitter here, not somebody certified at this moment. But if I could go down and loft a little bit on this Triple Diamond, say to 9 or even down even lower, what kind of distance am I talking about?
I think we'd easily crack the 330 range then. Your ball speed's going to get closer to 175, 176 on a good one. Because, I mean, we're launching the ball at 15 degrees right now. We could take that down to 13, no problem. Still have plenty of height for the carry, but your ball speed's going to jump up a lot. Spin rate stayed pretty moderate as well. So, I mean, if we really wanted to drop that spin, again, dropping your loft down, like, I think you could touch 340 if you just hit one just perfect.
Now, you mentioned, too, this sort of, you know, the fade bias tendency. There's a little bit of that showing up. It also could just be, I guess the face angle wasn't really much more open or closed than the other drivers.
No.
I did have the one that's way over there on the right, where my face was like 9 degrees open. But I like what I'm seeing here.
Me too. One thing that jumps out to me right away, your spin consistency is under 200 for every single head.
Yeah.
In testing that I do, that never happens. There's always a driver where we're varying by 5, 6, 7, 800 RPMs a spin. From what I'm seeing so far, these look really, really consistent shot to shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I think to be fully transparent, I think there was one with the Elite that we ended up taking out. I think there was a heel ball that we ended up unchecking. So sort of an asterisk on that in a sense. But to your point, though, to get that many swings in a row for me as someone who's not, you know, I'm an above average golfer, but I'm not like an elite tour pro. To get it that consistent on the spin for, you know, how many swings in a row there? 14 in a row. To be, as you mentioned, that plus or minus, that deviation to be under 200. I have not seen that either in driver testing. So that's really, really good. And of course, we saw, it's gradual, but the spin does go down to the Triple Diamond. And if we take, I mean, again, we're talking, you know, if we take this out and we take this out, but if we take out that really open face one, the spin kind of even lowers a little bit more towards that 2,000 mark that we were talking about. So I'm impressed. I mean, these are really good drivers. You could even say they're elite. You could say that. Yeah, but really good testing here in the first impressions. I'm excited now. You know, we're going to do some video content here soon where we put these to the test against AI smoke and kind of see what these numbers that they gave us, how true they are. But I would not be surprised to see them even exceed that based on what I've seen so far. Yeah, they performed far above my expectations for what one generation to the next could do. All right, so Jake, testing complete there. Callaway Elyte drivers. We saw really good stuff. At least I'm very impressed as the person who was swinging. I think it was also cool to see kind of the progression of, especially going down to the Triple Diamond, that spin was slightly lower. We saw that, the slight fade bias show up a little bit, but really fast ball speeds and really consistent on the spin across the board. Any other major takeaways that you had just from kind of observing the testing there? Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a really strong year for Callaway again. I mean, they're one of the best when it comes to drivers, and I think that's going to continue this year. I was just really blown away by how consistent that spin rate was. I mean, we didn't see much deviation. Right. And it's not like we were hitting the center of the face every single time. Right. So AI 10X face is, I think, really going to help a lot of players be more consistent, which if you have consistent ball speed and spin rates, you're going to have tighter dispersion, you're going to have more consistent distance on the tee. Yeah, it was really good. And it was something we almost were kind of glossing over during the testing was the spin rates. We didn't actually have a lot of conversation about, hey, that was in the low 2000s. Again, we realized at the end as we're breaking down the numbers, it's like, whoa, it was the same every time. And so that's a valuable asset for a golfer to have on the golf course, knowing their spin rate is going to be pretty consistent throughout. So let's go through the models. We'll start with the one I hit first. Well, yeah, the Callaway Elyte.
Yes.
We're going to go through the Callaway Elyte drivers model by model here, starting with the Elyte standard head. The type of golfer that I guess will most likely benefit from that one.
Yeah, so that's a player that's looking for just more forgiveness overall, not inherently having a one direction miss. I mean, there's a weight port on the back that you can set up to be fade biased or draw biased if you're trying to correct a shot shape discretion. But if you're looking for just an overall more forgiving driver, something that's going to be a little bit lower spin than the Elyte X, that's going to kind of slot there in the middle. The Elyte X is more for a player that struggles with a slice. There's a standard weight port, a draw weight port, so you can kind of customize that there. And then there's also the draw setting on the hosel. So you can either have a minimal amount of draw bias, which in our testing with you, we didn't really see that draw bias come out too much. But if you want to crank that thing all the way, you absolutely can. And then the Triple Diamond is your more kind of tour player driver, smaller head shape, more fade bias, weighting options for a heavier weight in the back or the front to kind of control spin and launch angle. And then it's just going to be really, really fast, super low spin.
And then we should also touch on the Max Fast as well. The Elyte Max Fast. Didn't have it to test today, but kind of that lightweight design. It's going to have a lighter shaft with it for players that really want to increase that swing speed. And so that's going to be the Elyte Max Fast model. So really good stuff here throughout, kind of. And to kind of conclude here, Jake, it's going to be a great year for drivers, but you know, these drivers, you know, they call themselves elite. That's kind of a bold play by Callaway. So, hey, this is the elite drivers, but they might live up to the name here. So,
yeah, I think so.
Golfers, go get fit. Schedule the fitting with someone like Jake. Get you dialed in for a Callaway Elyte driver, one of the 4 models we discussed today, and we'll get you hitting better tee shots. So, thank you, sir, for joining and giving us the insight and everything. It was really good.
Absolutely.